So, apparently, Max Verstappen, 4-time Formula 1 world champion, has been in talks with Toto Wolff. But, unsurprisingly, as this news has broke, he's played it down. Let's have a look at what's happened here, guys. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com as always. Max Verstappen has played down the likelihood that he will ever use his contract's famous exit clause. In an end-of-year interview with Viaplay, the new quadruple world champion was reminded of something that he said earlier in 2024, that Toto Wolff has been very nice lately. Indeed, prior to signing Kimi Antonelli as the Ferrari-bound Lewis Hamilton's teammate, Mercedes boss Wolff campaigned hard to woo Verstappen away from Red Bull amid the team's internal struggles. "I understand, Toto," Verstappen smiled. "You always want the fastest driver in your car, don't you?" As long as a lot was going on for them too, because they had to make a choice about the new driver, he added. And the big teams are always interesting. On the other hand, I'm already in a very big team. We've achieved a lot of successes together, and it also feels like a second family. So these are considerations that you can't make very quickly or lightly. It's not like you wake up one day and say, yes, next year it's over. I'm not someone who shoots from the left to right very quickly anyway. You have to think very carefully about whether you want to do this. But you always talk to each other, and I'm not lying that we sat down together, Verstappen said, referring to his talks earlier this season with Wolff. I think we have had very constructive conversations. I think everyone has always been very open and honest with each other. But on the other hand, I'm also very loyal to my own team. I just feel at home there, so there's not much to gain at the moment. I'm still very young, so a lot can happen in the future, said the 27-year-old, whose Red Bull contract runs through to 2028, but like I said earlier, has those rumoured exit clauses. But also, those rumoured exit clauses have apparently been sewn up now, so who knows? But for me, it's not just about Formula 1. I always want to do a lot of things after F1, so who are the right partners for that? These are things I think about, but I do not have to make my decision yet. Preceding a dip in car performance and the departure of Adrian Newey among others, Verstappen admitted another very difficult part of the 2024 season was the Christian Horner scandal, which triggered a leadership crisis. There was a lot going on behind the scenes, Verstappen said. I see more than people can see, of course, even if you don't have to say everything in the media. It's much more important that we get along behind the scenes. There were a lot of accusations back and forth. A pivotal moment in the scandal amid the rumours that Dr. Helmut Marko would be pushed out of the team was when Verstappen warned that if his longtime mentor departed, he would also go. I don't think we would have reached that point because I made it clear how I felt about it, Verstappen said. He stayed, and in the end, I think we managed to build a very strong bond with the whole team and Christian. In the end, what matters is that you resolve it together and not in the media, and that worked. My father and Christian too. You have to talk about it together, and that's what they did. In the end, the situation wasn't nice, but there are worse things in life. For me, it wasn't difficult to keep the focus on the races. It didn't matter that much. As for the ongoing rumours that Verstappen could leap out of his contract after 2025 to race at Mercedes under the all-new regulations, he played down the prospect. In F1, you don't see very often that someone gets out of their contract, he said. It's not like football where you sign for 5 years and leave a year later. And that's not my intention either. But you never know what can happen next year in 2 years' time. I can't control that. Of course, improvements need to be made with the car, but I think that's very logical. And I feel very good with the team. I can be myself here, so in that respect, I have nothing to complain about. Yeah, interesting. I mean, for me, for what it's worth, I can't really see Verstappen leaving Red Bull after next year now. Because obviously he won the championship this year. You've got next year where it's kind of a transition year in a weird way, kind of just a coasting year really for a lot of teams, because it's like all their efforts are going to be on 26. The 25 cars are just going to be there and not really develop that much. So I would expect Red Bull to still be up there, maybe not with the best car, but one of the best cars, at least a car that is good enough in Max Verstappen's hands to win the championship. So yeah, I don't see him leaving that soon, to be honest. I do see him one day going to Aston Martin. Go to Aston Martin, replace Fernando Alonso, big money offer from Stroll. I could see Alonso leaving that team after 26. I could see Alonso staying around in F1 potentially, Maybe not with Aston Martin, with maybe yet another team. Who knows? Maybe he goes back to Alpine again. Won't rule it out. He loves Enstone. The guy's going to have a statue there at some point if he hasn't already. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know with all that. I mean, I wouldn't read too much into Toto Wolff and Verstappen talking. He would have just been looking at, looking into his options basically at that point. And, Red Bull didn't fall apart when it came to the drivers at least this season, or at least not with Max Verstappen anyway. So he decided to stay on. And here he is. And he could well get out of the contract before 28. But like you said, it's interesting, a little line that you mentioned there about making sure that, about thinking about things after F1. I mean, he's made no secret that he's past the halfway point of his F1 career, in his own words, that he wants to go and explore other motorsports and other things. And it's fair enough, really. Nothing wrong with that. But who has the right program to be able to do other things like Le Mans, like IndyCar maybe? You might say McLaren of that, with obviously having that IndyCar program, but I think he'd be much more likely to go to somewhere like Mercedes or Aston Martin, listening to that, because they've obviously got projects in other motorsports, or at least they can start up projects in other motorsports. Of course, Mercedes have just rejoined the World Endurance Championship. Who's to say they don't get a hypercar project one day? I could definitely see it. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Do you think there's much to read into when it comes to those talks between Max Verstappen and Toto Wolff? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, keep it subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com to see much more content on the pinnacle of motorsport, just like this. Have a good one, guys. See you soon.